Hey Michael, this is Camille. I'm just calling in because I have a question about guys and girls' mentality with dating. So as a girl, I have a very intense moral hangover, probably derived from a lot of Catholic guilt, but it kind of prevented me from engaging in my quote-unquote hoe years. But I was wondering if guys have that same type of guilt if they're in their player years, not just guilt for what they're doing to girls, if they're not dating them, if they're just hooking up with them, but if they have any guilt of just kind of living that more immoral lifestyle of hookup culture. Would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks, and love the show.
Love those phrases that I realized I did hear correctly when you said the men have the player years, and then I think the first phrase you used was hoe years for women. So first thing, generally, if you haven't already gone through it, probably good to avoid those years. I know it's very easy. I think a lot of people fall into it, obviously, but you know, if you can avoid, I wouldn't aim at having hoe years or player years. Probably not that great. Your question though, do men feel some shame and guilt from that? The answer is yes. Yeah. Not just because you roll over on the pillow and you look at the girl lying next to you and you say, oh, why am I doing this? Not just because of the girl, but because of you, because you are degrading yourself. Because you are, when you pursue women or men in that way, as just a vessel for your own pleasure, you are degrading yourself to the level of an animal. You are a human being with intellect, with reason, with virtue, with integrity, with worth, but you degrade yourself to the level of an animal that just needs to be titillated when you do that kind of thing. And it reduces your view of the other person too. You're degrading the other person. And even if you have a crush on the other person, even if you think very highly of the other person, when you engage in an act together that is intrinsically shameful, that will lower your view of the other person as well, and it will diminish the possibilities for a longer kind of love affair with that person. So yeah, men have it too. Men and women have it a little bit differently because men and women approach sex differently. But men have it too, and men can get sex-austed, and men can feel that same kind of shame. And ideally, that would be sooner rather than later if they have to go through that at all. Next question.
Howdy, Nostradamus. My name is Houston, and my question is about a topic that has come up when discussing religion among my peers. I've grown closer to the church while in college, both thanks to you and my study group. Here's the thing. I listen to a lot of metal, but not just any type, specifically death metal. I understand that some of the lyrics are blasphemous, but I'm far more captivated by the intricacies of the instruments, which makes sense since I play guitar myself, both for a band and a church. Is it possible to be a practicing Christian while also enjoying and performing this type of music? If not, couldn't the same be said for the modern degeneracy that kids are listening to now? I've been told that as long as I don't feel conviction, I'm okay. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. Thanks, a swarthy breakfast taco.
Really, really good question. And I'm going to give you a really, really hard answer. Yeah, you probably shouldn't listen to that. I'm sorry, I don't want to be a wet blanket. It's not even just the lyrics. I mean, obviously, you shouldn't listen to music that is blasphemous, but you can find metal, you can find extremely hardcore metal that is not overtly blasphemous. That's not even the main issue. The main issue with death metal is the music, actually. It's more the percussion. Plato has this point, which is he observes that more than anything else, it's music and rhythm, even especially, that can transform your soul in that it bypasses your reason. When you're listening to music, especially music that's very percussive, especially music that's very beboppy, or in the case of death metal, it's all just like gung, 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 gung. When you listen to that, you're not reasoning about it. You're not sitting back like you're listening to, I don't know, a symphony by Bach and thinking about it and thinking in a really calm way about it. And even then, even more classical music will bypass your reason to a large degree. But when you're listening to very percussive stuff, it will totally bypass your reason and it will transform your soul. It will take the strongest hold upon your soul, as Plato says. And so you've got to be aware of that. I'm not saying you can never listen to death metal again, but I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend generally avoiding things that take you totally out of your reason and when you're in a mosh pit, or you're listening to death metal or something like that, you are out of your reason. When you drink 3 bottles of whiskey, you're going to be out of your reason too, and you don't want to do that. Sorry to be a wet blanket. I'm not saying you have to totally tune out all the death metal immediately, but I think as you grow in your spiritual life, you will naturally pull away from that kind of music and pursue other kinds of tastes. Sorry to say, I'm sorry to rain on your parade, but that's just the way it is. I'm sorry that I have to Play-Doh pill you, but that's the way it goes. Next question.
Hello, Michael. This is Tony Fauci. I wanted to call and let you know that I am deeply disappointed in the disinformation that you've been spreading on your show. And I wanted to tell you to tell all of your sheep to wear the mask. Your sheep need to wear the mask. My question is this. Do you really think Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter? If so, I might just have to retire early. Thanks, and remember to wear the donut, Michael. Just wear the donut.
You're not the real Tony Fauci. I'm the Tony Fauci. No, you're the Tony Fauci. Which one do I go for? I know, that was a really excellent Dr. Fauci impression. Or you just are Tony Fauci. To your question, is Elon Musk going to buy Twitter? Right now, it looks like he is not. I actually did have a friend of mine who, from the very beginning of the Elon Twitter saga, said Elon doesn't really want to buy Twitter. He just wants an excuse to sell Tesla stock at all-time highs. It's the same thing as when Elizabeth Warren complained that he didn't pay enough taxes, and Elon did a Twitter poll where he said he was going to sell a bunch of Tesla and then he would have to pay taxes on it. My friend viewed that as another kind of ruse just to be able to sell Tesla at very high prices. So it could be that. It also, the other option is this could be a way for Elon Musk to try to get a better deal on Twitter. But I don't know, if I were a gambling man today, I would say Elon does not buy Twitter, and it was all just a really funny troll, which is fine by me. I really enjoyed the troll. I got a real kick out of it. And if Elon got to make a little bit of money on it, all the better. Though it may backfire. He may end up having to spend a lot of money to get out of the Twitter deal. All of that remains to be seen. But either way, we all got a bunch of lols out of it, so I think it was worthwhile. Next, voice mailbag question.
Mr. Nostradamus, I am Smiling Sam. I am a blue checkmark athlete. I've been in the UFC for a number of years, and I'm one of those guys that thinks LeBron and people like that should shut up and dribble. So I've kind of held myself to that same principle. I will shut up and punch. Now, my question for you is, should I keep doing that? I have a topic that I won't. I will not hold my tongue on abortion. I am a foster parent. I have 6 children. I have adopted 1, and I'm going to continue adopting children until they are all mine, and they are all very loved. Other than that, though, I tend to keep my mouth shut because, like I said earlier, I'm a big fan of the shut up and dribble thing. They aren't. Should I be fighting fire with fire? Should I be using all the power that comes with my little blue check mark to try and fight back, to try and reassure others that I'm with them? Or should I not? I appreciate it. Also, I live in Nashville. I would love to have you and your family out for barbecue one of these days. Anyways, keep up the good work, my friend, and thank you for the advice.
That sounds great. Thank you for the invitation. Would love to do it. And thank you for the question. Very good question. Should you use the great power and responsibility of the blue check and voice your opinions? Perhaps, to some degree. My advice here is it's not an all or nothing kind of thing. You don't need to either keep your mouth totally shut or have the MAGA hat on doing jumping jacks constantly. You're very lucky that you're in the UFC, which is probably the most conservative sports league that there is in the country right now. So you'll get a little grace for that anyway. But as you say, I won't keep my mouth shut on abortion. You could be judicious and prudent about the ways that you speak up. You're not a politician. You don't hold a public office, so you don't have to speak up on lots of these different issues. You certainly can, but perhaps you pick your battles. Perhaps you do it in a way that's a little subtler. You know, you do it through retweets. You do it through posting, hey, I listened to this, I really liked this. You do this through weighing in a way that maybe has a little bit of a lighter touch. You're very known for a tougher touch in UFC, so maybe you try a little bit of a lighter touch in politics. I think that can be really charming and effective if you're a little bit winsome and witty about these things. So I would maybe lean into that. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing. Owning the libs is much more an art than a science. Great question. Right now, go to puretalk.com, enter promo code Knowles Podcast. You're getting pinched right now. Everything that you buy is getting more expensive, with one exception: your cell phone plan. If you switch to Pure Talk, what are you spending on your cell phone bill? Probably 60, 70, I don't know, 80 or 90 bucks a month. You can cut that by 2/3 if you switch to Pure Talk right now. Pure Talk gives you talk, text, plenty of data for just $30 per month. No price increase there. No Bidenflation affecting that. I am a Pure Talk customer. I love Pure Talk. It's incredibly reliable. I use Pure Talk a lot for my job. I use Pure Talk for my personal life. The 5G coverage is great. Plus, they make the switch from your current provider incredibly easy. Won't take you more than 10 minutes, which is amazing. Well worth the savings. 10 minutes, definitely well worth saving $60 a month. Right now, our listeners, by the way, in addition to that, are saving 50% off their first month when they use promo code Knowles Podcast at puretalk.com. Hard to depend on the government, hard to depend on this crazy economy. You can depend on Pure Talk, puretalk.com. Select a plan, enter promo code Knowles Podcast, save 50% off your first month, switch over in less than 10 minutes. puretalk.com, promo code KNOWLESPODCAST. All one word. I'm so glad that you liked that clip. You know, we just hit 1 million subscribers here on YouTube. Thank you to everyone who made that happen. Let's push it up even higher. Next goal, 1 billion. So please subscribe, like, ring the bell. We'll see you next time.